Well, another back-to-school season is upon us. It's a stressful time for administrators looking to reopen schools safely. And it's a bit of deja vu for officials who are trying to keep students safe. We've already done this before, but also might be burdened this time around by state laws that ban schools from requiring masks. We've seen those laws put in place in Florida, Texas, Iowa, and others. And for more on how that's impacting things this time around, happy to bring in Mark Lane, Superintendent of Decorah Community Schools in Iowa. As part of our series looking at the state of education as Americans get ready to head back to the classroom. Also have Yahoo Finance's education reporting Aarthi Swaminathan joining in on the conversation as well. And Mark, appreciate you coming on here. Just for background, you have a K through 12 district there, 1,700 students, and now with the tricky position of trying to make sure everyone's safe while masks can't be required. How is it going this time around to keep everyone safe?
I think it's going as well as it can, given just the nature of the virus. We know things can change quickly, and so it's been really key for us to just stay abreast of the best information at the time. I feel lucky that we've had a great partnership with our local public health, Winnebago County Public Health. The executive director of our county board of health is actually one of our school board members. And so having that connection between public health and our school district has been very beneficial in just understanding the current state of the virus in our county, and then how we can best go about making sure our learning environments are as safe as possible.
Mark, can you tell us a little bit about whether if you have a vaccine mandate for teachers, and how is the sentiment like? Are a lot of 12-year-olds getting vaccinated? And have you seen are you worried about cases increasing as you lead up to reopening on the 23rd?
We do not have an employee vaccination mandate at this time. We worked with Winnebago County Public Health back in February and March and offered an on-site vaccination clinic. We worked with two local private schools. St. Ben's Catholic School is a K-8 school, and then Crossroads Academy is a special needs private provider that's in our community, and we offered a vaccination clinic for staff of all three organizations in February and March, and we had between 80 and 85% of employees take advantage of the vaccine at that time. Winnebago County in Iowa, there are 99 counties in Iowa. We're one of the 7 or 8 most vaccinated counties right now, right at about 52% of eligible vaccine recipients have been fully vaccinated, either with 2 shots if needed, or the one of the Johnson & Johnson. Mm-hmm. And so I think, people are taking their opportunities to be vaccinated. And as we've approached school, I think more and more families are considering if their children are eligible, getting that vaccine.
Mark, what would be the situation in which you would have to shut down the school? Because we're seeing more and more school districts report hundreds of cases, especially with very young children. So what would be that red line that you would say, okay, let's just go back to online learning?
Yeah, I really, in Iowa, that is difficult to do at the time. We're required to provide some kind of a in-person option to families, and would need to go through an application process with the state in order to go fully remote. We started a year ago with back to school in-person learning. We started the year last year with a hybrid model where students were face-to-face half the time, and at home working remotely half the time. But most of the year we were full face-to-face learning. The instance when we did have to go fully remote for 1 week last year really was driven by a lack of adult supervision mostly. We just had we had staff quarantined because of exposures, and it was difficult to ensure that we had enough substitutes to ensure a safe learning environment and a productive learning environment. And that was the week after Thanksgiving, and we went to a full remote week that week. This year, I think a similar situation. I hope that doesn't happen where we're understaffed and just don't have the subs to do what we need to do. But I think that's the most common thing that has occurred in Iowa is just when the adults are quarantined or isolated, that we just do business as usual.
Well, it seems like it's not just staffing you have to be concerned about, but also kind of resources across the board that have been cut in regards to kind of handling a potential outbreak as well this time around. I'm thinking particularly about the State Department of Health not offering to contact trace COVID cases this time around, leaving that up to individual districts. I'm not sure whether you guys have the staffing. It sounds like if you're already kind of struggling in the last peak around staffing for students, whether you would have the capabilities to kind of even add contact tracing to the plate as well. I mean, how hard is it without the resources there to really battle this?
We have 2 full-time school nurses, and really they were our frontline contact tracers last year. I think they did a phenomenal job. They did work closely with Winneshiek County Public Health and the staff there. But for our students and for our staff, our nurses really were the primary contact tracers, and that was on top of an already busy work day for a school nurse, and so. I believe, we have the capacity, we have the knowledge of how we did that last year. I would hope that it's not as demanding with fewer cases that might need to be followed up on this year. But if necessary, our nurses will do what they need to do to make sure our students are safe at school.
Mark, how has it been like working with the teachers' unions during this period of time, especially with, some subjects seeing a lot more staffing shortages than others? So how has it been like working with the unions?
We have a great relationship with our Teachers Association. The Decorah Education Association is committed to the same things we're committed to as a school board and as a district of high levels of learning, a safe learning environment. Our association, as we developed our original return to learn practices and plans, we had high staff engagement and high staff involvement in a number of committees. And so I think that engagement and that understanding of what we were doing, it invited people to have a seat at the table and feel like their voices were heard. Obviously, I think people were rattled in May when the law changed in Iowa, and all of a sudden we came to school one day and masks were no longer something that we could mandate as a district, and that was an emotional time. But given our experience, I think our association and our board are on the same page in working together to create a safe working environment, to create the safest learning environment we can. We want to make sure that people have the right information, that they have good information and timely information from the CDC, from the American Academy of Pediatrics, that we're putting that information out there, and then encouraging people to use that guidance and to help us create that safe environment.
Mark, just quickly, last question for you on what gives you optimism, because we're in a place where we don't know Delta variant, Lambda variant, all these different things, but what gives you the most optimism as you gear up towards reopening on the 23rd?
The thing that gives me optimism is students. I think about where we were at a year ago at this time, and some of the same apprehension, some of the same fear, some of the same uncertainty is there. Again this year, unfortunately. But then school started, and our students adapted. Our students were agile. Our students adjusted. Our students worked with us. And I know they will do the same thing again, right? We as adults, we could learn a lot from looking at the kids in our lives and looking at the children around us. They are incredibly resilient people. They are incredibly positive people. And so the thing that gives me optimism is knowing that we'll have 1,700 young people in our schools in 2 weeks, that they will work with us to create another great school year. We had a great year last year. Some of the circumstances are different this year, but I'm really positive that because of our students, because of our staff, we'll have another great year. It'll just have different challenges than last year did.